Hi and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. I'm Lisa Curcio. I decided it was time for a 3D project, and I've got something that's so adaptable that you're going to be able to use it for any size spiral notebook. Now, you may be a naysayer and think there's no way you can replace the cover of that without it falling off. So I'm going to show you this up close while I got a better camera view and show you that yes, it does stay on, and wait till you see how it's removed, templated, and placed back together. It's so much easier than it looks. And of course, there's oodles of ideas on what you can do with these. These would be great party favors because it's a useful gift. It would also be a great end of school year gift for teachers. So let's get over to the stamp table and let's get started. This is the spiral notebook I was showing you in the introduction. Isn't it cute? And again, I'm just going to show you how I took off the original cover. Now, this is adaptable for any size spiral notebook. You will just follow the exact same format. I purchased this spiral notebook at a local drugstore. Now, I do know that you can get these at any dollar store, and for about the same amount of pages. I think I paid about $1.29 for this one. To remove the cover, what you're going to do is you're going to open up the book, minus the pages. I'm going to use your paper snips, and we are going to snip between these holes. So I'm going to move that spiral binding out of the way a little bit. So right in the middle, if you can, snip to the center of that hole. I'm holding this up as close as I can to the camera so you can see. And you're going to do that all the way down. So there's a slit in every single hole so that we can remove it. Okay, all my slits are made. So now I'm going to do is just gently pull off the cover. This one actually happens to be plastic, so it's pretty resilient. Regardless of the size, you're going to measure it. And then you're going to cut a piece of cardstock equivalent to that. So mine is, I think, 4 by 5.5, and I've cut a piece of Hello Honey. I'm going to put this behind it. So I'm mirroring this exact same piece. And the original is going to be on the top. Now you can see I added about 1/8 of an inch here. I found I needed just a little bit more length so that I didn't see the pages come through the cover. All you're going to do now is you're going to use the 1/8 inch handheld punch. And you are literally going to punch through the existing hole that's there from the original cover to make a new one onto the cardstock underneath. Now I like to hold it sideways so that I can get right in there and see exactly where I'm going. I'm trying to go as close to the center as possible, but I'm going to tell you it's very, very forgiving once it's finished. So I'm going to do this all the way down. Okay, now that's finished, so you can see how I've created a hole underneath onto the cardstock. Now to get this back on top of the spiral notebook, you're going to do the exact same thing. We are going to snip the center of each of those holes to create an opening. So I'm going to do this all the way down. Here's the notepad. Here's the cardstock. I'm going to lay the cardstock over the top. Using my scissors on the straight edge, I'm not opening them. I am literally just going to press and place those little notches in between the spiral notebook. Now, if you watch the introduction to this video, you know it's going to stay on there. Because a lot of you are probably thinking, there is no way that's going to stick, but look at that. Isn't that amazing? I just love that about this project, and it's really resilient. Now let's go ahead and decorate it. I cut a piece of English Garden Designer Series paper. This measures 3 by 4 3/4, and this is a piece of Tip Top Taupe cardstock. 3 1/4 by 5. You don't want to say that too fast. That's a mouthful. I'm going to use my snail adhesive, and I'm actually going to attach these two pieces together to create a layer on the top of my notebook. This layer is going to be placed here. I liked to add some layers to the top of my notebook, just to kind of reinforce the cover. Not that it's not strong enough to stay on by its own, because you can see that, but I just like that. Just adds a little bit of weight to it. And I'm going to center this and place this on top of the spiral notebook. You'll see here on my original one that I actually stamped with vellum. So I'm going to give you a little bit of tip on how this is done. I'm going to take a piece of vellum cardstock, and I'm actually using the basic black archival ink pad. This works really well on vellum, just like stays on. But I find this is a little bit friendlier on my photopolymer stamps. I took the image, and this is from Helping Me Grow. This is the little daisies that are here. You're probably thinking, Lisa, that doesn't fit on your block. Yeah, I know. And I kind of did that on purpose because this is the only one that I want. By allowing this to be flimsy, I'm actually able to kind of hold this to the side and then use my ink pad to ink just what I need. So I'm going to hold this sideways, hoping that you can see. And I'm literally just rubbing ink where I want it on this image. This is a great way for you to use your ink pads on photopolymer stamps and eliminate areas that you don't want inked. With photopolymer, the stamps are clear and you're able to see exactly where you're going. So I'm able to get those corners right where I want them. Now, if you happen to make a mistake, no problem. Just take your finger, a little Q-tip or something and clean it off. So there we go. Now, before I go ahead and stamp, I'm going to put my Pierce mat down. I find that this little bit of extra push is going to allow me to get a good design onto my paper. So I'm going to press firmly and make sure that you outline the image. This is a rather large image. You're going to want to go over the areas that you've stamped to get yourself a good impression. Now, if this happens to you like it happens to me, don't panic. I've got a fix for that, and I'm actually kind of glad it happened so I can show it to you. I'm going to lay that aside and let it dry for just a couple minutes. Well, it's not completely dry, but I'm going to be real careful. We're going to flip it upside down. We're going to color from the back. The reason I love this on vellum is it really creates a pretty subtle appearance. So I'm going to lay that here on my grid paper, and I'm going to use some markers. First I have, this is of course Delightful Dijon. I know, but you're thinking that's honey. I know. And I've got Hello Honey. Now I realize that one of these is retiring, so you're going to want to grab those before they're gone. And we've got an Old Olive marker here to do the stem. And I'm going to be using some soft suede for the center. I am going to start with the Hello Honey, and I'm going to use the brush tip. I always love to color with the brush tip. So I'm going to actually color in from the back side of this image, and I'm going to color in my petals. Now it doesn't have to be all perfect and pretty because we're going to do some highlighting with that Delightful Dijon marker in just a minute. So we're going to fill this in. And again, I know I've got that little oops there on the front with the leaf that didn't come all the way through, but I'm going to show you how to fix that. No one's ever going to know. I'm now going to switch over to the Delightful Dijon. So this is darker. And I'm going to just do a little bit of highlighting. I'm going to do some here at the bottom. And these lines in the stamps, ladies and gentlemen, these are your best friend. They're going to help tell you where to put some highlights. So I'm kind of following those and presenting a little bit more darker shade near the bottom. This is just going to add a little bit of depth to our project. This is the Old Olive marker. This is going to do our ends of our little leaves here. That part at the bottom of the flower. Gosh, that must have a fancy name, right? I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to fill that in. And the stems. And then I'm going to use the soft suede for the center. Keep in mind that while you're designing your own project, you can design this around whatever designer paper you'd like to use or cardstock. Okay, so that's all finished. This is the back side. Now we're going to flip this over. Now, let's talk about fixing this. There's a couple things that you can do. You can use your basic black marker with the very fine tip. Remember, all markers have two sides. I really like these Project Life journaling pens. They come in a 2-pack. There's the 01 size and the 05 size. The 01 is super skinny, and it's really awesome for fixing black boo-boos. So I am going to lightly go over this, and I'm actually kind of just sketching it on. I'm not even going to be really, really careful to mimic that perfectly because look, you can't even tell when it's done. So I recommend these. These are in a duo pack. I believe they're $5 for the two US price. Okay, so that's now all set. I'm going to do a layer behind it so that this will become more prominent. So I've got a piece of scrap Whisper White cardstock and of course my image. I am going to use the Lots of Labels framelits. They come in a collection of different sizes. I love them. I do number mine. This is number 6. Number 1 would be the smallest in the center. So if you're going to mimic this project at home, you'll be able to know which size that I used. And then you're going to put both pieces together. Because the vellum is so thin, you'll be able to do this all in one pass. So I'm going to put my framelit where I want it, and I'm going to grab my Big Shot. Here's my magnetic platform. Going to put a clear mat on top of it to protect it. You're always going to want to do that. Here are my pieces of the framelit, my vellum, and my cardstock. I'm just going to kind of line that up where I want those. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to put another clear mat over the top to protect it. I'm going to place my hand here, get it cranked through the machine, and that's going to die cut those pieces for me. All right, so here we go. We've got this now in 2 pieces, which is exactly what I wanted. One thing about vellum is you're going to find that it is opaque, and because it's opaque, you're going to be able to see your adhesive. So I'm going to place 2 glue dots on here in a strategic location that I'm going to end up covering up. So with the glue dots, I'm going to peel back one here, and I'm going to pick up my vellum, and I'm going to place one at the top center, and I'm going to place another one at the bottom center. And then that is going to go directly over the white cardstock. So now we have that layered, and it just brings out that image a little bit more. Let's talk about covering up those little areas. Now you know they're going to show through, so I'm going to use some pearls, and I'm going to use the large one, using my piercing tool to help pick them up, and I'm going to place that directly over where that glue dot is to help hide that. And another one here at the bottom. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back. I'm going to do top and bottom and side to side, just so that it's nice and balanced. I'm going to take off that paper backing, and this is going to get mounted to the top of our Designer Series paper layer that we mounted on the front of that little spiral notebook. So that's going to go here. Okay, now that it's in place, I actually had a little fun with the gold wink of Stella. Now, if you don't like this, you certainly don't have to do it. You could stop here, but I'm going to add a little bit of gold wink. The one thing is it looks so beautiful on top of the vellum, and it only takes seconds for it to dry. This gold wink mimics this color so beautifully, and it gives it that little bit of shimmer that I really, really like in my project. So I'm just going to let that dry, and it's all done. So here's the original one with it in the forward, so it's a little bit more predominant. This one is the vellum reverse, so it's a little bit more subtle. I hope that you've enjoyed this project, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day, everyone.